On the Dr. Patrick Flynn Show, and today we're going to be talking about hydration, electrolytes, and also special guest Numa. We'll see you in just a few seconds. Hello everybody, Ross Skorzewski, the host of the Dr. Patrick Flynn Show. Here we are in the studio in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Another beautiful day, and sitting with me once again, the hormone whisperer. The man who can whisper to your hormones better than anybody I've ever heard in my entire life, which is getting up there in age. Ladies and gentlemen, wow. Dr. Patrick Flynn, which means you are ahead of me.
Only by a couple months.
Only by a couple months, but it still means that you are older than I am.
I just have a lot more wisdom.
This is true. And a lot more gray hair.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know. I think, you know...
you got me beating gray hair.
Well,
you do. I just shave it all the time.
I'm telling you, when you have one wife and then you're at the job site and it feels like you have three other ones,
yeah.
I'd go gray too. But with that, we are excited for another episode today. We're going to be talking about some amazing things, but why don't you let us know? There's something really important coming up in 2 weeks.
We have our Traverse City training summer with all our docs across the country.
That's right. All of our doctors merge at Traverse City, Michigan for a 2-day exclusive training. And why am I telling you this? Because everything that we do here at The Wellness Way, even with this show, is intentional. Because we want to continue to bring you the right information, because we want to change the way you think when it comes to you possibly taking the first steps in your new direction for healthcare. And not only that, talking about great products, but you talked about Traverse City, but I was talking about something that actually takes place before we leave on...
That's right. I was talking to Travis. You mean my
birthday?
Because you talked
about it.
My birthday.
Yes.
Send presents to 26, 38 Tulip Lane.
Attention, Ross.
Yeah, attention, Ross.
Especially if they're checks.
I got a birthday present today from Annie.
Annie, from our Appleton
Annie was
office,
listening during the training and stuff. And for people who don't know this, I love organic hot sauces. It's like people always say, Doc, what do we buy? You kind of have everything. I'm like, no, I love hot sauces. You can never go wrong buying me some good organic. And remember, if you don't poop the next day and it doesn't burn, it's not hot enough.
I was just going to ask you, is it burn on the way in and on the way out?
Both.
That's kind of the litmus test?
That's right.
All right, well.
It's got to burn.
It's got to burn. Well, today we're going to talk about some amazing things. I've already said that, but that was awesome. It's got to burn. Burn, baby, burn.
And not Bernie Sanders. That's the burn. That's a burn you got to stay away from, man. That's yeah.
Raw and unscripted, as we always say. But one of the things that I want to talk to you about today, Doc, and get your perspective on, to kind of set up our guests that will be joining us.
Yep.
We find ourselves in the summer months where, the temperature fluctuates. And within that, I think people... Obviously, when they get super hot, they inundate themselves with this idea of more water, more water, more water, because they're thinking hydrate, 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 so they don't dehydrate. But we had a great quick tip that was done by Dr. Andrew McGuire from our Mequon office, talking about the importance of salt. But would you do me a favor, really kind of set the stage for why saturation with just water is not necessarily the most healthy thing for you.
It actually can be very deadly. People don't realize, for example, that when you look at the most needed nutrients, obviously water is number one, but salt is number two. It's right behind it. The most needed nutrient by far is water, but without salt, you can get in trouble. The osmosis of the cells can actually become very imbalanced, okay? That's why when people get extremely hot, I'm like, always put a little salt in your water that way.
Sure.
And stuff, but if you're like me, okay, we're guys, okay? Here's one thing. You have to have flavor. Ladies by nature will do things will do more healthy things because they're just better at it. They really are. They're more intentional about doing healthy stuff. Guys, we suck at it. So what happens is we need something that says it tastes good. Now, by nature, we don't drink soda and stuff like that because we know it's all poisonous for you that way. So what happens is we're always looking for all those great things that we can put into our body that way. Because drinking water or even drinking tea for a certain amount of time, you're bored as hell.
Yeah.
You do.
You're like, what's next?
It's like so there has to be flavor.
Right.
So we're in the constant search for things because patients ask us, how can we live our lifestyle with doing all the good stuff, but if we don't know what to do?
Yes.
So our docs and all the people are on constant search for the great things. And then Dr. Jason found what we drink a lot of nowadays, Numa. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to say this very clearly that way. As you guys know, and you guys have been watching me for a long time, and even before Ross and I started the show, I have no ties to companies. I have none. Because like I always say, I basically am the Trump of natural health care. There's nobody that can buy me. We've been offered money for sponsorships for this show and things like that, and we turn it down constantly because I want our show to just be raw and authentic and give people options of what they can do.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
You've been more about actually giving away than receiving because we don't need it.
That's right. Don't need it. I give away stuff like crazy on my show because I never want people to think that things are about aspects of sales.
Absolutely.
And I'm all for capitalism and people doing great. It's why, once again, it's why I'm hoping this company thrives massively and stuff like that, because why? And if I can be a part of actually getting a good product out there for them to be successful, I believe I've accomplished my job as a doctor.
You bet.
You know what I'm saying?
You bet.
Because once again, the benefit is we have healthier people. It's always been the Wellness Way's objective that way. So I'm so excited for today and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And honestly, it's no joke. And I just literally met them 6 minutes ago. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not like we had this devious plan in the corner about how we're gonna dominate the thing, and we're gonna get together, we're gonna sell lots of product, and I'll make money, you make money. That's a bunch of bull crap.
Yeah, I know their drinks more than I know them.
Yeah,
that's about it. But
I purposely said, no, listen, we've been buying the product way before we even knew them.
Yep.
And now we officially know each other for about 10 minutes now.
That's right.
And so here we go.
How did we go
Ross.
from 6 minutes to 10 minutes? That
Well,
was
I
like
just
in a
looked at the
30-second
clock. I
gap
just looked
there.
at
I'm
the
like,
clock, and I'm like
you
going-
are so fast-paced about everything you do. I can see now why 6 minutes becomes 25 minutes in a matter of 30 seconds.
It's amazing.
That's his brain.
It's
Ladies!
fantastic.
Yeah, it's fair. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome to the show. It is Brandon and Jared of Numa Drinks. So would you please put your hands together in your cubicle, or if you're driving, I hope you're not, or you're at home, welcome them to our show. Hey guys, how you doing today?
How's it going, guys? Good.
Going
Thanks
really
for having
good.
us.
Well, we thank you for letting us have you on the show. And like I said, we've got your product right here sitting in front of us. And we just kind of started the conversation talking about the importance of hydration, the importance of electrolytes and salt. And actually, towards the end of this, we've got an article that one of our docs posted that I think is really important for our audience across the board to read, from our clinic site, because it asks this question: are you making these 5 hydration mistakes? And if you wouldn't mind, just real quick, tell us a little bit about your story. Why? Where did this come from?
Yeah. Absolutely. So you may or may not be able to tell, Brandon and I are brothers from here in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. And
who's older?
We're hockey players.
20 months.
Nice.
20 months. Close. Yeah.
Always
Hockey players.
Yeah. So we were hockey players growing up. Played college, a little bit in the minor pros, as any teenager, where you were excited for all of the free stuff that comes with it, part of it being sports drinks. And as we got older, and we're chugging these things down on the bench, I had acid reflux issues. I was, my stomach was getting upset. Brandon was kind of dialed in on, hey, all that sugar, 30 grams or 40 grams of refined cane sugar really isn't all that necessary before kind of people were waking up to it. And, it just started with us two, our business partner, Chris, as we have this issue. Why can't we find something that we really like? Sidepreneured for about a year and a half of, crazy dev. I was getting unmarked powdered samples sent to the hockey house and having my buddies try it. And it really just snowballed from there of how can we make something that's effective and clean, uses the right ingredients, and has the, the functionality and taste that we're looking for. So truly an issue. Couldn't find anything. One thing led to another. All of a sudden, we were launching a company.
Yeah. And,
awesome.
over the course of time, I think there's one constant between my brother and I is we're the 2 sweatiest athletes you've ever met. And I'm always getting cramps and headaches, and I'm always dehydrated. And I remember like on the benches, they used to have pickle juice and all sorts of just ways they would try to just get us rehydrated and get salt back. And, I wasn't fond of that pickle juice taste over and over. I guess sometimes you may develop a little bit for it, but, it was really the most authentic need of just being guys who wanted to be healthy, guys who like being active, instead of we didn't like what's on the market.
Be honest with you, I was that kid going to the refrigerator. I see all the pickles and I'd push them to the side and just
take a hit. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, okay, so playing hockey, and obviously those energy drinks and sports drinks, they permeate the sports industry across the board. Everything through social media and through advertisements, marketing, and they really do. They put it out there that it is the latest and greatest craze to when it comes to replacing electrolytes for rehydration.
Yep.
And you guys were just talking about this, and maybe Doc, you can have a little bit of a dialogue too. But talk about the acid reflux, and some of the other things that people would really, especially with all the sugar too. So let's talk about that for a second, because it really is a dominant presence in the sports field.
Yeah, and how's been your relationship with sports teams? Have they rejected you? Have they been welcoming? Because obviously, if they understood the contents and the amazingness of your drink that way, but once again, most teams are bought and paid for. That's why they have
sponsorships. Yep.
It's if you go with the NFL, Gatorade has them in their clutches that way, and they promote these players like it's a wonder drink, and really it's one. And my thing is, I wonder why they drink it. What have you noticed in the athletic, but also in the even the storefronts that way? How they've received your product?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, Gatorade has contracts with the 4 major American sports: NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey. Yeah. And every time there is an athlete that's going to be shown on TV, on the sidelines, or in front of the press conference, has to be Gatorade. But one of the things that I think you guys are starting to hit on, that we as a small startup can't really even talk about, is that we get a flood of direct messages from trainers, athletes themselves reaching out. As we mentioned, we're from Cleveland. All the teams in our town have had Numa in their locker room, because those guys are drinking. They don't want to be drinking 40 grams of sugar every time they go to the bench. So, yeah, they have to have it. But you'll notice oftentimes with our sports teams here, you'll see bottles wrapped around in tape. There's Numa inside. Jared.
What's on the inside? Are you saying that it's actually, teams, like if it's sponsored by Gatorade, that's what they literally have to consume throughout that game as well, or is it just more about marketing, squeeze bottle and whatever's inside is inside?
It's the squeeze bottle and the marketing. So when you have it, I can. We're not a big enough company to defend the Pepsi deals, but I'll text you. I'll text you a couple pictures offline. You can literally see Numa bottles taped, so you can't see our logo or the branding, or you'll see them literally dumping Numa in the Gatorade bottles and then drinking the Numas. We're not gonna post it or try to defend it, or that's just what they want to drink. Just happens that they like it.
Now, one thing that I can go on and on about the ingredients, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, as people know, for our audience and also for our patients that way, we're extremely particular about the ingredients, and they're top notch.
Yeah, we only want the best.
Like I said, they're definitely Dr. Flynn approved at a high level that way. But where do you see the company going? Do you see it going beyond the drink market? Do you see it going beyond? Because once again, usually what happens when you see a great company like this and they already have a rock star product, come on, open up the brother's brain and let me see what you guys got for the future.
Right.
Because let's get being an entrepreneur.
What kind of irons in the fire?
Being an entrepreneur and actually, you're drunk. I think your product, once again, I believe that my personal opinion, I'll give you an opinion, when people, just like shows like this will reach hundreds of thousands of people and stuff like that they're going to see this and they're going to give it a try. And from a flavor standpoint, my favorite still is the blueberry peach, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Chocolate mint's close, though. If you want chocolate,
Okay.
that's the close one.
Can you come up with a pickle?
Yes.
Yeah, pickle one. But what's
Okay, just for you.
because once again, I believe your company is going to thrive just because as a doc, I will continue. My daughter right now, who's playing in a sports in a golf competition right now over in western Wisconsin, she actually has 2 of these in her bags as she walks around the golf course. Okay.
Sweet.
So once again, once I believe that your company gets known, the product will sell itself. But once again, being an entrepreneur myself that way, just like you say, I had a great idea with my clinics that way, and now we're a national brand across the country. Where do you see Numa going as far as just not even stopping at energy drinks that way?
Yeah, I mean, so for us, we are, first things first, focusing on growing current product as smartly as we can. And then, as you mentioned, every entrepreneur, I don't think they're an entrepreneur without a bunch of crazy ideas.
Yeah.
For us, we look at the athletes and the people that we're talking to that really have embraced the fitness and healthy eating and active lifestyle, and looking at their workout and trying to really solve needs outside of just hydration, particularly with the drinks that they're drinking. So we do see some opportunity pre, post, during, off days, whatever it may be, of getting the right types of products in their hands, really using a lot of the same core principles that we do with Numa as a rehydration drink. We can bring that type of mentality and that foundation to different parts of people's fitness and active and healthy living lifestyle.
Yeah, I think the core tenets that we're going to stick to: no added sugar, we're going to do it organic when possible, and we're just trying to, everything in there has to have a real reason. We're not just going to dump stuff in there because it, I want it to taste good. I'm not going to add a bunch of just crap to make the flavor, to look right, or it's just like, it has to have a real specific function, and that's how we're going to be trying to build our brand throughout your fitness journey.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, you look at Numa right now, you mentioned
go ahead.
ingredients, organic coconut water and sea salt, real functional ingredients, and building off of that is really what we're dialed in on.
So speaking about your brand, Numa, one of the guests that is watching with us today, wants to know how you came up with that
name,
Numa.
Yeah, it was a winding journey to a name for us, and it kind of reflected what we were feeling as we were making it. We started with a lot of names. We were really focused on pH balance and acidity, so it was Refuel spelled with a PH, or 7-Aid. But as we kind of really thought about it, we were trying to represent something a whole lot different than what traditionally was out there with the sports aid drinks. So we decided to make up our own name and came up with Numa, representing no more artificials. And so it was kind of, at the beginning, something at our core that we really wanted to stick to. It let us grow into, as hopefully, other line extensions or what it may be. So that's what it stands for us. That
No more
it's very much a
artificials.
high level umbrella. Yep.
Beautiful.
So
awesome. I think it's great.
It's actually pretty neat name.
Brilliant, yeah.
And it's not a joke, guys. I'm not
Brilliant.
joking. I had no idea what it stood for.
I didn't either.
Because it's really funny. It's like,
All I can think is like sitting there, Numa, 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 Numa.
yeah, we like saying it. That was pretty much that was the real reason. It was just,
it does. It has a nice ring to it that way. It's kind of nice, and that's the one thing that I absolutely love about it. But see,
geez.
that's the authenticness of our interview that way. We're just so excited about a good, high quality product.
Absolutely.
We actually know very little about the story, but what happens is, we figured, for example, having you on was a great thing, because there's always, whenever you have something like this, you say, that blankets a lot of your great products out there. There's always a great story behind it that way and stuff like that. So how is your family and your friends, as you started to change your lifestyle and tried to move from this way, how have they received all the stuff that you guys are doing?
Well, so we have.
It's a great
It's
question.
been interesting because one of the things that we've definitely seen with our product and who's interested is the typical Gatorade drinker that we kind of stereotype as a aspirationally high school male who wants to play pro football or baseball, basketball. a lot of those people don't care too much about added sugar, dyes, all the garbage. So it took a little bit when we started doing this. We had a lot of friends who were beer and pizza drinkers and went out all the time, and they really didn't care too much about what we were making. I feel like most of them wanted to support us and drank them for their hangovers, honestly. And when we start, I feel like that was the honest assessment. And we kind of saw, especially for males, a lot of my buddies, it took them 5 years after they got out of college when they hadn't worked out in forever, had been eating garbage and drinking all the time. They're like, man, I really got to start looking at what I eat and how I treat my body. So it's kind of funny. So we're kind of, we're both young 30s. So we are starting to get these guys who are starting to take some more control of their life and their diets, who are, I feel like, used to support us just because they wanted to support their buddies, but are actually seeing like, this actually makes sense with where I'm trying to live, how I'm trying to, be the guy I was when I was 18, and now I'm, 30 something and trying to get back.
I will say too, on what's going on a macro level, I think that beginning age for people taking ownership of what they're putting in their body is getting younger and younger. Even when we first started 5 years ago compared to what it is now, talking to a high school kid.
I was just going to ask you guys about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we can see so much room for growth in America, obviously, particularly on the kids and high schoolers, of understanding what they're putting in their body. And granted, they're high school kids, and not that they should, but it's like they got metabolisms that are kicking and the sugars can just fly off. But the understanding now is so much different. Again, even 5 years later from when we first started this, and we end up talking to some younger people, they're starting to be way more aware of what's going on, what they're putting in their body. There's label readers that are, still in high school. Kind of, that wasn't a thing even a short time ago. So there it is.
Tell them I said hello. So I guess go ahead. No, you please. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things that we were super conscious about, and we saw this the other day. We saw a stat that between last year and this year, the number of Americans that identify with they called it a food tribe, was what we read. So whether it's Whole30 or Paleo or Keto or whatever it is, has gone from 14 to 36%. The percentage of people that feel like they're trying to do something, and I think both of us are just like, do what works for you. Like I don't prescribe to any. It's like whatever is something you could stick with and you like that you can actually do, then do that. But just to Jared's point, there are just so many people that I think it's easier to find stuff, and people just want to be healthier, and there's ways to just do it. So with the amount of people that are now into this compared to 5 years ago, definitely more openness that we've seen.
Well, that's good. Especially within the sports industry, my question for you, since you both were athletes, are you starting to see more of a rise of athletes that are taking ownership and saying, you know what, I don't know what the heck, I'm not drinking this, not your Numa, but the Gatorade Numa, because I've got acid reflux, I've got this, I've got that, and I'm not doing it anymore, and they're making healthier decisions for themselves as well, or are they just going along with the Gatorade craze or whatever the name of the sports drink might be, not to just, focus only on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's totally a shift, and it does start at the top, and I think that's where the long-term shift can happen. And it's like there's a lot of marketing dollars behind the traditional sports nutrition industry. But even so, with social media and the insights that you now have into the highest level celebrities' lifestyle, that you can see what they're doing, what they're eating, how they're working out, how they're treating their body, that the younger generation can then take cues from what they see the pro athletes doing. Because I definitely, on the pro athlete level, there's just so much awareness of it, of what you're doing with nutrition, with sleep, with recovery, that everyone like at that high level, they're investing so much on just the smallest edge that they can't ignore it in their personal lives, and they won't ignore it because of the benefits that it can have. And then now that there's a way for them to just kind of naturally share that message, they don't even know that they're presumably even sharing a healthy lifestyle message even, maybe, that like that's where I can see one, yes, it's clear as day that the high level athletes are fully embracing it, and also kind of almost organically sharing about it.
And we've actually seen there have been a couple, you know, NFL, NBA, baseball guys who found it at Whole Foods and DM'd us and tagged us and stuff like that. And for us, that was really cool to see that, you know, when those guys are shopping, this is actually what they're looking for. When the lights are on them, and the sponsorship bucks are there, then they're going to hold what they're paid to hold. But when they're actually grocery shopping and finding the food that they want to eat, that's what they're getting. And it's kind of cool. And you know, sometimes like you'll see like someone getting samples, you're like, no way, we're sending him samples. It's like, yeah, he found it in the store and he likes it, and we're not gonna. I think it's the same way that you say like we're not gonna go chase them, but if it's stuff that they actually want and like, then of course we want to be part of it.
Now, there's one thing that I always love, like I said, and I love the story, where you guys came from, what you did that way. And when I started this brand, you know, almost 20 years ago, I started on $500 and a lot of grit. Okay. So tell us, give us a little thing as we get towards the end, because one thing I love is, once again, say it again, the product is top notch. But I also like the story of, you know, the struggle and what you did to get out there. Were you guys knocking on doors? Were you guys going to Whole Foods? Were you getting, and even share the successes and rejections you've had. Love to hear that story.
Yeah. It was.
How long you got?
Yeah. You said only a little bit of time. So, you know, for both of us, I was in school when it started. Brandon was, again, playing in the minors. Not glorious at all. You know, we're talking AA level, like baseball, long bus trips. And so we didn't know anything about our target audience at the time, and we didn't know anything about the food and bev industry. So that's a nice little concoction to make a bunch of mistakes and I have a bunch of failures. So what we really embraced was that we were going to make those mistakes and that we're going to iterate and change, and that our formula has evolved 8 times or something like that, all in the name of getting cleaner, being better. You know, the first time we got into a major retailer, I think over the course of the first 50 days, we split up and each did 45 days of sampling. Like you go to like Costco or whatever and there's someone pouring it out. We're listening to all the feedback, the good and definitely the bad, and just kept our head down and out there, growing, listening, learning, iterating. You know, the first moved out of mom's basement about a year ago. So the first 3.5 years of Numa, we were living in the basement. And at one point in the very beginning, our divider was cases of Numa. That like my room was made a wall.
Well, you're thirsty in the middle of the night, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like no night cramps for us.
Yeah.
It's all in the basement with us. So yeah, I mean, it's like that's how it started. That's how we can make it work.
And then
literally, we would show up at anywhere there was a workout that we could get there. We would just bring a cooler, open it up, and just have people try it. And so much feedback, so many early mornings. That's when workouts are. So that's when we're up and out. That was the first couple years.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say comfortably versions 1 through 4 sucked. And it was just like you got out there and luckily enough, we're from a small town where people were really receptive towards us just talking to them, giving them samples, and people told us they don't like this. And we kept trying to iterate, trying to learn and we just beat it up. And then people were asking for, can you get this certification? At one point we had 2 grams of added sugar, and people were like, why are you adding sugar? There's no reason for that. And it really just made us smarter, helped us really think about who we were serving, what they needed. I mean, it was us driving the Numa van, stocking shelves, talking to people, trying to do it. So,
beautiful.
entrepreneurial story.
That actually, brothers, let me tell you, that gives me, I've always respected your product, and just meeting you today, the story alone is my support to you in every single way that way, because I love people that grind. You know, I love the people, for example, that have been, I always tell people, don't come talk to me until you've been punched in the face a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying?
Show me what you've done.
That's right, because business is
literally and figuratively, you know, hockey's
literally.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I have great respect for you guys. I will be a big supporter of your success. And so all the audience watching, trust me, the story makes it, I was already impressed with their product, but now I'm impressed with the guys who deliver it and stuff like that. So thank you so much, you know, for taking the time to spend with our audience, because once again, they trust us and the information that we bring to them. And once again, as I said, I have no ties to Numa except for bringing our audience the best products on the planet that way. So Ross.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much, Brandon and Jared. As we continue to consume these ourselves here, we will post the links to where you can find out more about Numa drinks. Also, the article on Are You Making These 5 Hydration Mistakes from our clinic website. But with that, thank you guys again. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Thank you, gents.
Thanks, guys.